friends. So in the last couple videos, we've talked about my May TBR and how I care for my TBR in general. And that got me thinking about something a little broader. Because reading for me is more than just picking what to read next. It's part of who I am. How I rest, how I imagine, how I stay connected to myself when everything else feels too noisy. So in today's video, I want to talk about how I care for my reading life as a whole. Not to be super deep or dramatic, but just to share the little ways I check in with my reading identity. Some of them are soft and cozy, others are more practical, and a few have definitely evolved over time. So number one, I check in with my reading season. Every so often, especially at the beginning of a new month, I pause and ask, what season am I in? Am I craving cozy slow reads, quick bingeable romances? Am I emotionally tired or creatively energized? Recognizing that my reading needs change has helped me stop fighting my own rhythms. If I'm in a slow season, I embrace rereads. If I'm feeling adventurous, I let myself try something completely new, like a romantasy or some other genre that I don't usually reach for. Reading care starts with awareness, not just what I want to read, but what I need from reading right now. Number two, I revisit old favorites on purpose. This one might seem small, but is one of my secret weapons. When I feel disconnected from reading, I don't push myself towards something new. I go back to something that once made me feel alive. This could be a childhood favorite, this could be a comfort romance, or even a familiar series that I've half forgotten. There's something grounding about revisiting a book you've loved. It reminds you why you fell in love with the stories in the first place. Number three, I curate my reading space without overthinking it. I used to feel like I had to wait for the perfect moment to read. Candles lit, aesthetic setup, cozy weather. Now I just ask, what would make this space more inviting for reading? Sometimes that means moving a lamp closer to my favorite chair, keeping a book within reach in the kitchen, clearing off the stack of random things on my bedside table so I can put a book there. Creating space for reading isn't always about aesthetics, it's about accessibility and ease. Number four, I declutter my shelves and my expectations. Every now and then, I take a moment to reset both my shelves and my mindset. This might mean unhauling books I'm no longer excited about or just tidying up the space where my books live. But more than the physical stuff, it's also about letting go of inner pressure. I should have finished that classic by now. I bought this last year. I have to read it soon. Everyone else loved this, so I probably will too. Letting go of guilt around unread books and tuning into what I actually want to read has made the biggest difference in how at home I feel in my own reading life. Number five, I give myself tiny reading invitations. Not goals, not challenges, just invitations. Things like read for 10 minutes while your tea cools. Take a book to the park and read one chapter. Read while dinner's in the oven. These little reading windows remind me that I don't need a whole afternoon to enjoy a book. I just need a moment of presence. Number six, I read with a mix of intention and curiosity. This is the balance I've always tried to find. I love to plan my reading. You know that, my TBR jars, themed months, seasonal picks, all of it. But I've also learned to leave space for surprise. Sometimes I'll read a book that's not on my TBR just because I found it tucked under something else and it calls to me. Or I'll start a series without checking how long it is, just because I wanted to. Or I'll read a novella instead of a full novel when my brain's just too tired. Curiosity helps me stay connected to the magic of books, not just the structure. And honestly, some of these reading practices come and go depending on what's happening in my life, and that's okay. My reading care doesn't have to look the same for every season. It just has to feel like mine. Number seven, I build gentle routines that last. One of the kindest things I've done for my reading life is to build habits that support it long term without the pressure. That might look like a weekend morning ritual with coffee and a book, a standing library visit every week, a seasonal reset where I check in with my reading goals. These routines aren't rigid, they flex with life, but they create little anchors, moments I can return to, and even when everything else is pretty hectic. And over time, they've helped reading stay a part of my everyday, not just something I squeeze in when there's extra time. Number eight, I let books care for me too. Some of the most powerful reading moments I've had weren't about finishing books, they were about being held by them. A story that mirrored my emotions, a character who made me feel seen, a fictional world that gave me peace when real life was just too much. Reading isn't always about escape. Sometimes it's about returning to yourself through the voice of someone else. Letting books comfort, guide, or stretch me is one of the kindest things I can allow. And finally, number nine, I reflect and share. even if it's just with myself. This might be the most underrated part of reading care for me: writing down a sentence I loved, talking about a book with a friend, filming a cozy reading vlog, just like this one, or just sitting with a story and asking myself, what did that give me? What did it stir up? Even a quiet reflection can be a beautiful form of care. So, those are the ways I care for my reading life, in this season at least. It's not a checklist, it's not perfect, but it's real. And if you've been feeling really disconnected from your books lately, I hope something in here nudges you back toward that quiet joy. Reading isn't always effortless, but it's ours, and it's worth tending to. Let me know in the comments, what's one thing you do to care for your reading life? Or what's something you want to try after watching this? And if you haven't seen my how I care for my TBR video yet, I'll link it in the description below. Thanks for being here with me, and I will see you next time.